Ciao Juventini of the world, my name is Giuseppe, welcome back on the channel. Let's say things as they are immediately. Yesterday, an ugly Massimiliano Allegri, coach of Juventus. Yesterday, ugly players and their individual performances. Yesterday, an ugly team and also and especially an ugly draw. Because that's what we are speaking about. That 0-0 against Atalanta is ugly. Was ugly, especially if we are speaking about the way that 0-0 was achieved, and that will be the core of the video today. The attitude towards that 0-0 pre-game, during the game, after the game. And we will speak about it, but first I want to speak about something else that was extremely ugly yesterday, and I speak about myself, Beppe. Yesterday, an extremely ugly Beppe in the post-game live. Why? Because I couldn't control my emotions. I was focusing on probably too many people that were trying to provoke in the chat instead of focusing on the people that were writing constructive criticism. Because even the most optimistic, the most positive fans yesterday was speaking about criticism, and totally correct, because there was only criticism that could be given towards Juventus FC as a whole, from the coach to the players to the people on the bench to the management. There was only criticism that was acceptable yesterday after that 0-0, and that was how I wanted to start that live, how I wanted to conduct that live of yesterday, speaking about criticism but in football terms, and I couldn't do it. I totally lost it, and I'm sorry for that, sincerely. And I would love to say here on the channel today, it's the last time that it will happen, but it's not true. It will happen. Why? Because first of all, I predicted before the start of the season that every single point that we will lose, a draw, a loss, would have been transformed immediately in chaos and drama. So I was prepared for that, for these kinds of hot chat. And I couldn't control it. I lost myself, and I'm really sorry for that. But why am I not promising today that it was the last time? Because I'm a human being. Because you know it, since I created the channel, and we created, thanks to you, a fantastic community of over 27,000 Juventini, well, I never consider myself better than you. I never consider that everything that I'm saying on the channel is correct. A lot of time I'm saying stupid things. Then I'm listening, I'm reading the people that have other different thoughts, and I learn from it. Then I'm excusing myself. I'm saying I'm sorry for what I said. I was wrong, but never I considered myself better. But I am a fan just like you, and I'm suffering in not seeing the Juventus that I want to see on the field. A Juventus that is at the moment not able to compete for the Scudetto. A Juventus that in certain moments is bad managed with bad choices, with players that are not able to control a ball at 2 meters without any pressure from the opponents. I am suffering. So when you're suffering, you have the nerves that are really tense, and entering a live like that post 0-0 against Atalanta is absolutely not helping. I am mature enough, and you know it, on the channel you can say whatever you want as long as it's respectful. I am respectful for everything that you are writing as well. I can accept criticism, correctly so. I even can accept insults if you want to. I'm mature enough, I'm old enough to accept insults. There is one thing that makes me crazy and I will never accept, is the fact that some people intentionally are transforming my thoughts and my words. Because I will not let go the fact that people are trying to say that I was accepting the 0-0 of yesterday against Atalanta, that I was trying to find excuses, because there are absolutely no excuses for the behavior of our team yesterday. I don't accept it, because I told you I am allergic to losing, and a draw means losing points. So I can't accept the performance of yesterday, and that's how I try to explain it. I don't accept it, but why did that draw arrive? And I couldn't. But I don't accept the way that we played yesterday. And you know what I don't accept of yesterday? The fact, 1, that we didn't win. 2, that we didn't even try to win. 3, that we didn't play. And especially the most important one, our attitude was not the one that I wanted, that I expected. Before the game, I didn't feel like Juventus could win. I predicted or a loss or maximum a draw if you are looking at the history against Atalanta, the history against the Atalanta of Gasperini. A draw was easily predictable, but the way that we played was absolutely not okay. Look, if we want to speak about football, we'll try to do it now. Yesterday, I didn't have the opportunity to say it, but a few days ago, a few weeks ago, after that loss against Sassuolo, I told you that I was extremely scared. Not because of the loss, not because of the 4 goals that we conceded. That should never happen. for a team like Juventus. But in football, these things are happening. Look at Milan that lost 5-1 against Inter. The game after, they were back. Look at Inter that lost against Sassuolo. The game after, they were back. In football, these kind of things are happening. But what I was scared about was the reaction that Juventus could put on the field after that loss. Would we give up on everything that we were speaking about during the summer, everything that we tried also in the beginning of the season? Would we be able to continue to do it and to believe or to do what we believed in? Well, I was extremely scared about that. What about the intensity? What about the high pressing? What about building from the back? What about higher average position? About the runs, about the velocity on the wings, about verticality in the center of the field, trying to play an offensive football or more offensive football, still keeping that balanced mentality. Well, I was scared that after the Sassuolo game, we would just push away everything that we tried, that we worked on, that we were speaking about in the channel. How many times did I repeat these words? And these things, we tried them against Udinese and they worked. We tried them against Bologna and it didn't work. We tried them in a way against Empoli. We tried against Lazio. So even if not always in parts of the games or for the entire game it was not working, well, we continue because the only way of succession, the only way of succeeding is in persevering, in insisting, in continuing to repeat what you believe in, because only by doing that you are progressive, you are becoming better. And I was scared that after the Sassuolo game, after that loss, because we tried and we wanted to press against Sassuolo and it didn't work and we conceded 4 goals, we would push away everything. And that's what I'm seeing also in the victory against Lecce, yesterday in the draw against Atalanta, that we totally pushed away all these principles. Because yesterday I didn't see any intensity, high pressing, average position that was higher, dialogue between the midfield and our strikers, between the strikers themselves. Then we could speak today about the fact that Vlahovic was not there, that Milik was not there, but this is football. Also, Atalanta were missing their striker yesterday. Don't tell me that Moise Kean is the first time that he's playing for Juventus. He's there since youth academy. He knows what Juventus represents. He knows Federico Chiesa since now 3 seasons. So even if it was the first time that they were playing together this season, I don't care. I needed much more of yesterday. Well, we go from that initial enthusiasm of Juventus, the players, everyone around it, to a full depression at the moment. As I told you already, and I repeated you, we are a team that is afraid, that is scared to win. We are scared to play. If this means that we could possibly concede something in the back. We are trying to take advantage of the opponent's eventual mistakes rather than creating them ourselves. And this is hurting me. This is annoying me. And that's what makes me extremely angry. If we're speaking about the game of yesterday, we started the game against Atalanta, suffering immediately from the first ball that has been kicked. We are suffering for 15 moments. An attitude of Atalanta that is immediately telling us we are the boss in our home, we are not scared about you, and we are going for the maximum result. 15 minutes where Juventus, they didn't even want to try something. They were thinking only about the way to stop that wave, not conceding, because that wave would go away, and from there on we will start our play. We will start playing our football. And I can even accept it if that wave is a short wave, and after that wave, if you were solid and great, you are able to play. But what is happening from that moment that that wave is going away, without honestly being too dangerous, because Atalanta in that first half was not dangerous because of a well-organized Juventus defensively? Well, from the moment that we try to press again, we try to say, okay, the wave is gone, we want to show also that we are there, being a bit more aggressive, hiring actually the average position of the team. From the moment that we recuperate that ball, Juventus has absolutely no clue what to do with the ball. Who is that the mistake of? Of everyone. because you have to share it. You can't just point fingers at one single person, especially if you watch the game of yesterday. You have to share it with the responsibilities of the coach and the technical staff that are not able at the moment to transmit the right attitude for the players. One, and we will come back on the attitude in the second half. But a coach that was not able to keep that momentum of enthusiasm, even if that meant we are risking. But anyway, that mentality of entering the game as Atalanta did, showing immediately that Juventus wanted to go for it. Not able tactically to find ways that when we have the ball, we have to find spaces. That means that the players that are there on the field can't be as static that we were yesterday, because yesterday, from the moment that we had that ball, I believe it was from the 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th minute on, for that second quarter of the first half, well, Juventus was static, was low, was slow, was missing tactical individualities. We were not able to give them solutions, and the players themselves were absolutely not helping, because one, we were not able to find our friends on the field. Two, from the moment that someone was doing a movement, we were not able technically to be precise. At the 19th minute, the 20th minute, we were in a pass accuracy of 59% in opposition half. 59%. And we can speak about players that we like, we don't like, we think that they deserve Juventus or not, but we are still speaking about players that achieved first league Serie A level. That means that these basic skills of passing a ball and controlling a ball at 2 meters of distance without any pressure can't be something that you have to point again also on the coach. This is individual mistakes, lose of focus, not being in the game, not believing in yourself, being scared to do something wrong. And when you're scared and when you're having negative thoughts in your mind, you are missing it. Yesterday, that picture of Adrien Rabiot receiving a pass from Fagioli, not be able to control it, is really what we saw in the entirety of the game. When we saw Moise Kean not being able to control the ball is the picture of it. When we see a Federico Chiesa at a certain moment out of frustration, instead of watching around him what can happen, is going in a selfish way, trying out of frustration to react to the whistle of the Atalanta tifosi that were whistling him from the first until the 90th minute. It's out of frustration. It can't be that we are led by scare, by fear, by emotion. We are Juventus, and I wanted to see that on the field yesterday. We miss everything from that 15th until the 30th, where we are going in crescendo, starting to do the basic things right in the last quarter of that first half. Juventus is playing. I don't want to see better, because we didn't play better. It was not fantastic. Juventus didn't concede a shot on target in the first half and was able to go 3 times on target in that first half. You will tell me it was not dangerous, except maybe of that Federico Chiesa shot that the goalkeeper had to deflect. Except of that, nothing really happened. So can we speak about a beautiful Juventus, a smart Juventus? Not really, but Juventus was in the game. But where I am extremely angry about is the second half, because if against Sassuolo we didn't enter that second half, we totally completely missed it with shaky legs and whatever. Yesterday we entered that second half, but with one intention: not losing the game. And if I'm angry, and I can accept that sometimes in the season you totally flop a half, you don't enter in the right way, you are not there, you are not there. I can't accept that Juventus are entering from the 46th minute on, because the second half is long, with the only intention to not play, to break the lines, to try to use a mistake that could possibly eventually happen from the opponent to create something, instead of looking for creating yourself your possibilities. Yes, it's true, on the bench we're missing a lot of players, because any team in the world that is missing Pogba, Dusan Vlahovic, Milik, and whatever you want to, is in difficulties, especially if the Mercato didn't bring us what we wanted as players, to move from a 3-5-2 to a 4-3-3, to try to give more things. On the bench we had a player like Mancini, but that can't be an excuse in terms of attitude, because I am expecting from Federico Chiesa to Szczesny to Danilo to Miretti to even Tommaso Mancini on the bench the right attitude, because to have the right attitude you don't need a lot of skills. It's here, it's understanding for what shirt you are playing. Also the attitude of the coach, understanding that yes, a 0-0 can be beneficial at the end of the season, because it can, rather drawing than losing. We can check it in that perspective. If you are already going in your journey, if you know who you are, if you are building up, if you are close, and that draw can give you even more benefits in the war in the end of the season. But that 0-0 after a weak performance against Lecce, a really disaster performance against Sassuolo, it can't be the right behavior to step up on the field. The second half we totally didn't play, and we were saved by a fantastic save of Szczesny. But also him, if I take that save that saved the game yesterday, I also want to highlight again that blunder that he's making in the second time, also in that second half, about to give Koopmeiners, I don't remember, I think it's Koopmeiners, the goal. Yesterday, Atalanta was closer to win that game, and probably they would have deserved to win that game, because even in the first half, if we were neutralizing them, and it was more two teams that were canceling each other, in the second half we said, you know what, here, from 0 attempts in the first half, we gave them 15 attempts in the second half. Clearly, we were not there to play that second half, and this is something that I'm extremely sad about. We are playing against Torino, and we know Torino is a team that is making from their aggressivity, from their grinta, their DNA. They don't want to give up, especially with a coach like Juric. If in terms of personality, in terms of character, in terms of what they believe in the Derby della Mole, that is even more important for them than for us, well, we can't go with the attitude of yesterday into that game in our home. Without forgetting that after the national break, there is Milan. Milan that was immediately able to transform that 5-1 loss that could have destroyed them in something positivity, in some learnings, in saying, okay, we missed on this, let's address this immediately. It's something that can happen, like the loss of Sassuolo for Juve, but we believe in what we are doing in the summer. We don't give up. And that's what I would love to ask ourselves. Continue to insist in what you were trying, because only there, even if we will fail, even if we will lose a game, only in insisting in what we do, we will see some evolutions. And I believe that I'm speaking for everyone when I'm saying, okay, maybe we are not happy that we don't speak about Scudetto, but we tifosi, we are aware that we are at the moment on paper weaker than some opponents, that there are other favorites and that only them can miss it, and that's where Juventus can enter to win the Scudetto. We can eventually even accept in arriving top 4 at the end of the season only if we see the principles of what has been sold to us in the summer. If we see this growth in terms of individual performances, in terms of basic principles of what we want to do. Giuntoli said winning remains the only important thing, but we also want to do it through performances. And I would love that we can listen to Giuntoli, that we can listen to Scannavino, that we're also asking for a better performance, something that we didn't see yesterday. Isolated cases, I can accept it, but it has to remain isolated. And if you're speaking about Sassuolo, Lecce, Atalanta, it starts to be not isolated case anymore, because it's already 3 games on 7. So from Torino, I'm expecting something totally different. I try to be as transparent as possible in today's video. There is no edit. Usually we speak about edits, we show. There was no need for. I wanted to put things out of my chest. I hope you appreciate it. Grazie, forza, Juve.